Hi, hello, and welcome to yet another Expat, the podcast of your heart. This is episode 59, almost there at 60. I am Hermes, your host, the voice in your head, bringing topics of life, the universe, Greece, Berlin, random thoughts, and all of that. Every week, forever and ever. As always, I hope you are doing well. I hope you're enjoying good weather, good company, and good food. And I hope that you don't have pigeons shitting in your balcony or any fruit flies flying in your kitchen. Now, today, let's talk about a few things. Number one, baby clothes. What the hell? When they tell you the clothes are this big thing, I have never imagined it would actually mean so much. I thought, okay, there will be a lot of clothes. You need to buy clothes because they grow fast. But that actually means that there are piles of clothes. The logistics of this are wild. You need to have the clothes that fit right now. You need to have the clothes that will fit next. Because the baby can just wake up one day and be 1 centimeter longer and then goodbye to a lot of your clothes. It changes so fast. So you always have 3 different categories. The things behind you that you cannot wear anymore, the things that you're wearing right now, and the things you will be wearing soon enough. And let me tell you, the clothes logistics are a full-time job. I have never seen so many clothes in my life. And you need to have different workflows for sorting them out, for having extra pairs with you in bags and strollers. And yeah, right now this house is just a big pile of clothes, which I guess will never stop. We were fortunate enough to have friends who had babies give us their clothes, but then we're like a warehouse, we're taking inbound clothes in boxes, sorting it up. It's like I'm running a small e-commerce here. What's the point of this? I don't know. I would have never imagined there are so many baby clothes. And you know what? If you need any baby clothes, just write me in the comments. I can add you in this flow as one of the outbound for clothes that don't fit anymore, and we can do that. Now, I hear you wondering, oh, Hermes, tell me more about that baby. Well, he's hitting 5 months. First of all, I also hate when people talk with weeks. My baby is 28 weeks old. I don't want to do the math. I don't. So I will give it to you simply. 5 months means he can almost sit. He can almost hold himself. He's a very interactive little thing now. He follows with his eyes. He sees very far. He giggles. He laughs. He even tries to give kisses, I think, or he's trying to eat me. I'm not very sure. He will start to crawl soon. For now, he just flips on his tummy and then puts his head up and sometimes tries to move the legs, but move the legs like a beetle that has been turned. It's this type of helpless moving the legs without doing anything, which, by the way, I said it dozens of episodes ago. I don't know what's up with beetles or turtles, or there is a category of animals that if they just get flipped around, it's game over for them. And I'm thinking, hey, nature, did you miss something there? That seems to be a very basic use case that shouldn't kill you. But yes, he doesn't crawl yet, the baby. When he crawls, our days are numbered. It's coming. It's coming, and then we need to baby-proof the house, which is a serious task. Things will get more intense. So far, so good. I'm back to work, trying to befriend that crow. Now, if you follow my Instagram, which you don't, no one follows my Instagram, yet another expat, you would have seen the stories I put of the crow actually coming visiting the window at work. The plan is working. It's not working great, so we don't have a standard time the crow will come. Sometimes for the same treats it doesn't come, other times it does. I think I'm not always there when it does, but the crow is coming, and I have a lot of footage of it looking at me through the window, grabbing some nuts and going away. So we have that going for us, which is a start. The office people think I'm crazy. Every now and then I go and open the window. By the way, it's heat wave and we have AC. Why would you open the window? And I just place nuts very casually there, or very often I look at the window. And sometimes I see people look at me from afar when I do it with a question in their eyes. but it's too big of a jump for me to go at the other side of the office and say, hey, I'm trying to befriend a crow. This is why I'm doing this weird window opening every now and then. So let's see how that goes. We definitely have a thing going on. I don't know if it's the same crow or multiple crows, but there's definitely the beginning of a pit stop. Now, some of you had messaged me. And for those who haven't listened to other episodes, the end game here has been pigeons have taken over my balcony. They shit all the time. I've tried different ways to get them away. And my master plan was to befriend a crow at work so much that it follows me home with my bike because I am its source of food and it needs to protect me. Then it starts being home, and then it takes vengeance on the pigeons that are making my life miserable by denying me the little access to those 2 square meters of outside I can have. And, some of you messaged me and said, hey, why do you have to befriend the crow at work? Why don't you just, befriend the crow at home? So you don't have to go through this surreal bonding of the crow following you 10 kilometers within Berlin to come back to your place? And you know what? My answer to that, do you know what my answer to that is? I think that's a great idea. So now I have 2 plans. One, befriend a crow in the office, but the second one, befriend a crow at home. Okay? I need results fast. I cannot wait for the long game. So I'm starting a parallel stream. It's an A/B testing of befriending a crow in the area of the apartment. Now for that, my dear girlfriend needs to say goodbye to a portion of the plants that we have on the balcony, because I have decided that this time I'm going to put in place a dedicated crow-friendly little construction. It will be like a platform, something it can come and sit. I will have food. I don't know if I will have water, because I don't want the pigeons there. And I will have only crow-friendly food, so it can always know that, this is a safe landing spot, like a helipad for crows. So this is what will happen once we get a few flowers repotted. So repotted. So stupid, sorry. So I take my little place there. And I also found a crow whistle on Amazon. So I might be trying that as well. Although it might be confusing, because then I will impersonate a crow, and that just seems... I don't want the crow to feel betrayed when it comes and sees me instead of another crow. But this is how the crow life is going. I also know that some of you also started the idea of befriending your own crows. And I can just say I'm so happy for that. There are videos, there are Reddit communities about it. If you want to make friends with a crow, it's totally possible. All right, I'll nag now, okay? Berlin has these big highways, A100 and A115, and what a shit of a mess that is. These big highways take you out of Berlin into Potsdam or other places, and both of them have construction problems. There were some bridges that had a crack, and then they never fixed it on time, so then it had to be brought down. The point is, you cannot use any of the roads that leave the city without getting an insane traffic. Unimaginable, and every time they have changed the construction. In Berlin there is this thing. Somehow, the person who is selling these barriers of construction that say that there are roadworks here, these little signs, these little red cones, these little black and white plastic fences that they show that the road is going another way. Whoever is selling this is a multimillionaire. Every single road will have construction somewhere. I cannot believe it. I've been here for so many years. I thought it was a temporary thing. It's not. So I hate the A100. I hate the A115. Those two highways, they always change with the construction. They always have traffic, and they always mess up. The GPS doesn't know where to take you. it gets confused because they say you cannot beat artificial intelligence. Well, the construction in Berlin beats Google every single time because it changes so often that Google doesn't know where to take you. And this almost cost me a meltdown the other day because we were driving with the baby, trying to go to a family event, and then taking a few turns wrong because Google and reality don't add up, meant that we had to spend an hour in the car with the baby screaming. And this is just a different level of Zen that is required to go through it. It's one of the things I find most challenging, the car screaming. And seriously, if you gave me a boat, I could go faster through the rivers. From Berlin, through the lakes, I could canoe myself. I would row my way with a freaking canoe from Berlin to Potsdam to not have to take the freaking A100 and A115. Way too specific of a rant? Maybe. Probably. But I think this fits the imagination versus reality when you come to Germany. You know, you think, I come from Greece, you think that there will be so many things that are working and that are modern and easy and just there. And a lot of them are. No complaints, but public infrastructure is by far better than Greece. But in so many places, things are not working. From the bureaucracy being stuck in the 50s with faxes and letters and paper and printing. I've bought a printer. It's one of the best decisions I've made in my life in Germany. We need to print things on paper and mail them so often. The trains are getting delayed all the time. If you're trying to do a multi-train trip somewhere, good luck with that. The construction is just everywhere. So yes, a lot of good things, but definitely not the modern, powerful state of everything working that someone might imagine when they hear Germany. But it's not like, Greece is not doing much better. In fact, it's doing pretty bad. Weather-wise, there is heat waves all across Northern Europe. And you know what we do in Greece when there is a heat wave? I will give you a hint and you can guess. So the sun without shade could get up to 50 degrees on concrete, 58 if it is, close to 40 under shadow, because the temperature you hear is always under shadow. It's not a direct sun temperature. When you ask your device or when you see the weather, it's always the temperature always under shadow. So we live in this illusion. In the sun, it could be 50 or it gets multiplied by all the cement. But if you are under shade, it cools down. And if you are under the shade of trees, then it cools down dramatically. So, do you know what Greece does when there is heat wave? They close down the parks. Oh, yes. They close down the parks and the forests because they are too afraid that something might catch fire and too unprepared to be able to do anything about it. So, isn't that the logical thing to do? Just ban people from being able to access green during heat wave just because you don't feel competent enough to provide protection, which is like, isn't that the basic thing when you have a state, when you pay so many things in taxes? Isn't the first thing you would ask that they are able to keep you safe? But yes, closing down the parks, who needs green, who needs shade, who needs trees? Let's just lock it all out. Just stay home, put your AC on, and stay quiet. But apart from the heat, one more thing that is shocking Greece, surprise, there is this scandal where EU funds were redirected, instead of going to the real farmers, into scammers who were declaring fake animals, fake goats, fake sheep, fake corn, agricultures. And do you know who was running that scam? The actual state agency that was responsible for distributing the funds. They could declare in the system that anyone had anything, anywhere. It's like I can go in the system and edit my application and just add a few plots of land and just add a few hundreds of sheep and then click and send the money somewhere to that farmer without anyone ever checking. Now, this has been happening for years. The EU had to come and investigate the dialogues of the president of that state organization with the sub-minister of agriculture. They're infuriating. They're just discussing, give this person the corn, and the other person told me that they want to change that to this. They were actively talking about how they're going to edit. And this is not one or two cases. We're talking about hundreds of millions of money misplacement. And the only reason this came to light was because the EU prosecutor pushed against threats this topic so hard that eventually the government had to admit that it's happening. And one minister and 3 sub-ministers resigned, and they say they will fix it. Do you know what? These talks where the sub-ministers and the president were talking between them about arranging who gets what, these talks were in the possession of the National Intelligence Agency since 2021. So there is this Greek, let's call it, the Greek CIA, right? The Greek NSA, actually. The Greek NSA had these dialogues for years. And the question is, why didn't anything happen all these years until the EU regulators had to come in? The EU regulators asked this state agency to clean itself up, and the agency was refusing to cooperate. So this is ridiculous. So yes, the Prime Minister is saying, the others did it before us, and these problems exist for decades, and he's always pretending he didn't know, but when the Greek NSA has the talks of these people for 3 years, do you know who the Greek NSA reports to? Directly to the Prime Minister. This wasn't always the case when this party came to power. They changed and they made the Greek NSA report directly there and the public channels as well, which gave them full control. But with that also comes the inability to say, I didn't know. And there have been so many scandals, from the Greek scandal of the government having malware, the Predator malware, and spying on its political opponents and on the top generals of the country and all sorts of people that are spying, using illegal software that only came to light because one of the opposition party leaders was in the EU, in Brussels, and they checked his phone because there was widespread awareness around Predator. Predator is a very super duper virus that can just spy everything on your phone. Then he found it, and then there was this thread of, why is my phone hacked? Who hacked my phone? And then they saw that it was hacked from a fake COVID vaccination message coming straight from the government that said, hey, you need to vaccinate, click here. But anyway, we will not get into the scandals of this government because it will never finish, but we will just add one more scandal in the pile of scandals of misplacing huge EU funds to their friends and friends of friends and all of these people that are eating like parasites any wealth that comes to the country. The staggering amount that the EU has fined Greece, it's a fine of 411 million, right? And this will be paid back to the EU. Do you know where that money will come from? It will come from taxing the taxes of the citizens. This is where it will come from. So a few people have a party between them and everyone pays the bill. But not only Greece pays the bill. Do you know who else pays the bill? Jeff Bezos. He's married now. And apparently, if you are Jeff Bezos, you can book Venice, the entire city. And this is what he did. You know it. It's unmissable, right? It has been everywhere, just like when he sent his wife and Katy Perry to space for their ridiculous stunt. He paid $50 million for that wedding. $50 million. And yeah, I guess when you're Jeff Bezos, you have to take the entire Renaissance Venice and use every single ancient cathedral for your fiesta. By the way, You know, Jeff Bezos is super duper rich, right? We cannot imagine how rich he is. But I will give you this. Jeff Bezos spending $50 million is like you and me are spending about 150, 200 euros max. This is the equivalent of an average salary person compared to Jeff Bezos. So I don't think he's sweating too much about it. I was very happy that it rained the first day and everyone was running around, seeing the Kardashians trying to run to hide from the rain and all of these people that think they can control everything. Hey, Jeff Bezos, why? You should have hired some planes that, can go up in the clouds and throw that ionizing salt or whatever it is that they can make clouds disappear. Yeah, I think you forgot to control the weather for this one. Tough luck. Best luck next time. Don't forget to control the weather. And the city is divided. The mayor is saying, oh, this is great, we're making money. A lot of protesters don't like what it says for the image of Venice, that someone can just book it for their own party. And there was this huge Greenpeace protest that said in huge letters on the ground, so you could see it from an aerial view, if you can book Venice, you can pay more tax. And there's a lot of talk around that, right? Tax the rich. Should we have so many billionaires? Or we shouldn't. Billionaires should not be a thing. Accumulating so much wealth should not be a thing. Looking at every chart that shows how much money and power has been accumulating in the top 1% shows clearly that this is not ending, the accumulation. But if you are wondering, I can tell you how much Jeff Bezos paid in tax. And now there are two ways to look at tax, and the one is called the true tax. The true tax takes in account all the money someone is making, not just what they're declaring. Because, for example, even though Bezos is not getting his salary, he has an 80,000 euro salary only. But he has stock, and he can use that stock to take loans, and then as a collateral, he puts stock on the loans, and then he uses the loans, but he repays it back in time with other loans from other stock. They're very good at this. I will not explain you how it works, but I can tell you that he has paid 1% in tax. 1% in true tax, as they say, which is calculating the amount based on the overall worth of a person. So during the course of 4 years, he added 100 billion to his fortune, and he paid not even one. So, yeah, I think I pay around 40% tax, which goes to Germany now, so please fix those highways. But when you're happy, you have to celebrate, and his wife is rumored to have 28 dresses, 28 outfit changes, not in general, just over the weekend. Just over those 2 days, she had 28 outfit changes. That's insane. Who has time to wear so many things? What is she, my baby? When it goes from 3 months to 4 months? Who changes so many clothes? But okay, this has been it. This has been the weekly update. I will end it here. I will let you know the crow, how it's going, and what I use for my little platform. And in the future, when I can make the crow attack my enemies, I will make sure to let you know about that as well. Thank you for following the podcast and leaving comments and doing all of these things. One day, this podcast will take over the world, and then we will make Jeff Bezos pay 40% tax, and I will make all of you pay 1% tax, just so that we turn the tables a little bit around. Until world domination, I will see you on this weekly catch-up. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry I was a bit grumpy today, too much ranting. I will bring a little bit more light-heartedness in the next one. Stay safe, stay in the shade, eat an ice cream. Until next week. Ciao.